evening, folks. Many of you saw the tragic assassination of Charlie Kirk just a few days ago, and the internet has been lots of different theories have been swirling around. So Kevin contacted me right away, and he said that he's got some ideas of his own concerning Trump and the Vatican. So we're going to take a deep dive down there. I know there's a lot of people waiting already. So this one's, a lot of people are going to be watching this. But please don't forget to support Kevin's links. All of his links are in the description box. His podcast links, his book links. You can contact him. We've got Telegram. He's even got his email down there. So please support Kevin's important work. He's had multiple attempts on his life, and he continues to speak out irrespective of all of these attempts on his life. So Kevin, when you saw this happen, I mean, it was really shocking, just to see the video of it happening quite quickly after it had happened. What were your first thoughts?
I didn't really have a reaction right away. I've been so embroiled in helping the court document a lot of these crimes. The information I'm going to share tonight is coming from the court itself, and one of the 13 people who were accused and who were subpoenaed actually has come forward and has provided information that led to what we're going to talk about today. So it's coming from them, just to clarify that. And also from one of our sources, my associate Joseph, who acts like a bodyguard for me, he has confirmed some of this stuff from his own contact in the intel community. So let me just sum up for people who might be new to the show. The International Common Law Court convened another case that started September 1st, and it named the present Pope and 12 other people, including the head of NATO, Mark Rutte, former president of the Netherlands, Donald Trump, and his associate with Epstein, and Cardinal Dolan, a whole bunch of top cardinals in the Catholic Church. And a subpoena was sent out to all of them last Monday. So that's September 8th. 2 days later, less than 2 days after that, Charlie Kirk gets killed. The next morning, right after that, the court received a communication from one of the 13. They're not saying who it was. So these are one of the people who received the summonses to appear next Monday, the 15th, before the court. And as they've been accused of participating in these ninth circle sacrificial cults, all over the world, and other associated crimes. This person who came forward, and they haven't identified who it is for their own safety, but this person has sought to make a deal. In other words, he wants immunity from prosecution, and he'll name other people. And that in itself is a very positive thing, because it didn't happen the last time when we put Ratzinger on trial. They closed the ranks quickly. Now the ranks are kind of coming apart more, and I think it's a sign of how much is known now, and more people coming forward. Because on that, a second aspect I want to talk about today, there's a great group of people in Buffalo, New York, including the relative of a Catholic priest who was murdered, apparently on the orders of Timothy Dolan, and because if he was uncovering child trafficking and other things within the church. I'm going to get to that. That's kind of part two. But with part one, what's happened is some of the information that this witness who's come forward, one of the accused, has provided this information. He claims that over the last number of weeks, there have been meetings between what's called Santa Alianza. That's called the Holy Alliance in Latin. That's the Vatican Assassination and Spy Bureau. And they've been meeting with their counterparts in the Mormon Church. Now, don't forget, Charlie Kirk was killed in Utah at a Mormon university, Orem, Utah. And he was killed by a Mormon student. Now, this counterpart to the Santa Alianza, the Vatican Assassination Bureau, they're called the Danites, D-A-N-I-T-E-S, and they're an association group that goes back right to the period in the 19th century when the Mormons were first formed. When they moved out west, they basically said that anyone who wasn't a Mormon, they called them Gentiles, they were accused of blood atonement. That is, you have to sacrifice your own blood to pay for the sin of not being a Mormon. And these Danites basically go around and kill people, and there's been a whole history of that. Even the Mormon leadership has admitted that they operate. Now, I interviewed a whole number of Mormon survivors, and they described that it was the Danites who were trafficking children, taking them to these rituals, and where they were murdered and everything. So it's a proven agency. Now, this eyewitness says that the Danites and the Santa Alianza were planning a hit on someone, right? And what's interesting about Charlie Kirk is that he had knowledge of a lot of this stuff. We know he was like Trump's heir apparent. They got along a lot, and Trump is the kind of guy who shares a lot. He doesn't keep a closed mouth. And there's more evidence coming that Charlie Kirk knew that and might have been exploiting that. That at least was in the minds of the Vatican. They want to clean up. What's the term I used? They want to house clean. They want to make sure there aren't any loose ends, because they can't have Trump and these other guys found guilty and face arrest warrants, because this is huge geopolitically. We're talking the head of NATO. We're talking the president of the United States and the Pope. These guys, they can't upset the apple cart that way. So they've got to remove any witness, anyone who potentially is uncertain. And so far, that's the theory, that in fact, the hit was done by the Danites in association with Santa Alianza. And, that's kind of like part one to this. Part two is that one of the key figures in all this is, there's three people to look at. There's Prevost, the present Pope. Pietro Parolin, former Secretary of State, also indicted and subpoenaed as being a prime mover in the Ninth Circle. And then there's Cardinal Timothy Dolan in New York. And now, Dolan, according to this group of people in Buffalo, there was a priest called Joe Moreno. And he, in 2012, he was found dead in his church office.
lots of